Welcome, everybody, to Who's Your Band. I am Jeffrey Paul. I'm joined by my co-host, Sean Morton.
Hi, beautiful. How you doing today?
Sean, what are you doing? Showing off the guns?
Me? No, it's I got this in and you know where I got this? At Forever 21 in Beverly Hills when I was out there in February for $2
How'd you get that for $2? It's a great shirt.
because it sucks. It's fucking ugly as shit. You don't see the rest of it, but $2. I brought this all the way back from friggin' LA.
I don't know, 2 years ago, I went to the stadium tour and I get there and, they have all the shirts and, Poison had the best one. I thought they had the best set of the night. And so I bought this Poison shirt and I fucking lost it. And I went online to see if I can get it again. And it cost me $60 too.
Yeah, I can remember. You know how in our lives we have to go through so much shit, like and you just certain things just stick in your brain. I got a Skid Row Youth Gone Wild shirt at Giant Stadium 1989 when they opened up for Bon Jovi and Billy Squier was like the support act. And I brought it down to that stupid water park in Seaside Heights. And because I was a fucking fat little kid, I kept my shirt on all the time. And then I was soaked. I was completely soaked from going on all the water rides. And I took it off and put a clean shirt on. And I left that fucking thing there. It haunts me 35 years later.
It does because you can't find those shirts
Oh,
anymore.
it killed me.
Those great classic shirts. I want to get started with this today. I love our guest. He's not only a great comic and knows everything about music, but he's also like one of the best guys you're ever going to meet. I sincerely say that. Let's introduce our buddy Don Jamieson.
Hey, what's up, boys? I love all the concert shirt talk, and yeah, nowadays with the prices at shows, you can't afford to leave your t-shirt behind or lose it somewhere. My girlfriend and I went to see John 5 at the Gramercy in New York about 3 months ago, and she bought a double Casamigos and tonic. I think it was literally like $48.
Is that the same Gramercy? That also owned by Madison Square Garden and Beacon?
I think so. I think they're the same family.
Because that's
Yeah,
about right.
I forget, but yeah, but that's one thing. It's you know what? She was like, I'm just gonna have one drink the whole night. So it was like, fine. But we get up into the showroom. Now the lights go down, the show starts, and everybody now jockeys for position. And someone just slams, right into my girlfriend's arm. Half the drink spills out.
Oh,
So that's like
like
$24. I go, I only had $20 in my wallet. I would have rather you robbed me. You spilled you spilled more alcohol than money I had in my wallet. So it's crazy, but this is how bands, not with the booze, but with the shirts. That most bands are t-shirt salesmen for a living. That's how they're actually making money, which it sucks. They don't make it on the music anymore. They make it selling you cotton. So I try to always buy a t-shirt when I go to a
Same.
show whenever I can, but I hold on to it for dear life.
Same,
I bought
exactly.
I bought three the other night. I went to see Blackstone Cherry and Nonpoint. And I bought two Blackstones and a Nonpoint shirt. Because
See, that's
the money's going right to them. There's
yeah.
and a lot of them are having cool merch. Freaking Nonpoint had a Nonpoint cassette player. Like a little mini, like portable cassette player that you plug into your auxiliary, which I thought was fucking phenomenal. What a great idea. I've never seen that before with a band. I thought it was really cool.
I think bands got to get kind of creative with the merch because I
Yeah.
think the whole record industry has really like flip-flopped. Because I remember back in the day, you would like put out your album and like you'd make your money off of points from the record.
Yep.
And like now, I think bands almost giving the music away for free.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's pretty much what's going on. Sean, I was going to go to that show, but I had Tom Kiefer at Starland on Thursday night, and then Sammy Hagar Saturday night at the Art Center. I'm like, I love Nonpoint and I love Blackstone Cherry. I'm like, I'm 57. I need a day off in between, man. But I'm sure
Well,
it's a great show.
I will tell you, you would have had a lot of room to roam around.
Oh,
Really? Nobody
Yeah,
was
so
there?
I have been a Blackstone Cherry fan since their first record, and I never got to see them. And like 2 years ago, me and my buddy went down to the Vogel in Red Bank, right?
yeah.
And Dom, I'm telling you, if 45 people were there, it was a lot. Like we walked up, I walked out with a guitar pick, a set list, a drumstick, a
You
snare
got to do the
drum.
encore.
I got the bass. You know what I mean? Like whatever we wanted, we got.
How
But
much were tickets?
like $30.
Really? So it's not even the
Not too
price
bad.
of the ticket.
But like Starland, Jeff, you've been there a million times with me too. It's like they curtained off both the sides, like all the way up to the sides. Like only that center bar was wide open and the floor was empty. Like I mean, maybe 500 people were there.
Every time you and I've gone, it's always been jam packed. But we also went to go see Zach Wild and
Yeah.
Dirty Honey. How was the Tom Kiefer show?
It was great, man. His voice sounded killer. And, the band he has now, he's had like for 15 years. And as much as, I was always a fan of Cinderella back in the day, of course, he plays a ton of Cinderella songs. This band is so much better than Cinderella ever was in their heyday. I mean, they basically had a touring drummer who, they wouldn't even let play on the studio albums because he just didn't, have the precise chops for it. And this band that he has now is they're just kick ass, man. They're just, this group of musicians from Nashville, and there's a million great ones down there. And it's great, man. It was really cool to see those guys. Really good crowd for a Thursday. I don't think it was quite sold out, but it was definitely a lot busier than the show you saw, Sean. And but with all the vocal problems he's had over the years, man, I'm so happy to hear him just singing so great, so spot on.
See,
I
that
saw
was
him, Mark. Don, you know Mark Riccadonna.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Riccadonna and I went last year to see Kiefer. It was Kiefer, Winger, and Karabi.
Yeah.
We missed Karabi because we wound up before Winger was done. We must have been at least 10 in, and we just had like a kill time. We're in the first row. I mean, it was just great. And I just thought Cinderella. No, I keep calling him Cinderella. Kiefer was really great. I wanted to go. I've been wanting to see him again, and I just had a show on Thursday night, but I would have gone. How was Hagar?
It was good, man. He played a lot of deep cuts this time. Usually when he comes around with the circle, it's just all hits, but yeah, great summer show. Sammy sounded great. They had Joe Satriani playing guitar.
75.
77.
Yeah.
77.
He's 70. I think, wow. And
Yeah.
he sounded good.
Sounded amazing. Yeah. Jason Bonham on drums and
Michael Anthony.
and Michael Anthony singing the old Roth stuff, which was great. So,
Wow. Speaking of that, let's get into it for a second. Don, Van Halen or Van Hagar?
oh, Van Halen for me personally.
Yeah. How about you, Sean?
Um, I'm a Van Hagar fan.
So
You got to
when
remember too, this is again, Jeff, and I always bring this up, and I don't mean to do this all the time, but you got to remember this is where my age comes in too. Because when, David was gone, I was only 12, maybe. No, less than that. I was probably like 11. So when Van Hagar came onto the scene in like, the late 80s, I was getting really more into music at that point. So I think OU812 is really like kind of the first album. I had 1984 because that was just the monster that it was, but I think OU812 was the one that really started me on the path where I realized I liked Hagar a little more.
I think he's the better singer, but I think you may have the better songs with Van Halen.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. But again, Sean probably would have really dug a lot of the Van Hagar deep tracks that they played, but to me, it's you could see the difference in the deep tracks. I think the Dave deep tracks are way better and way more well known than the Sammy ones. But for me, it was cool to hear some other stuff.
Like what?
That
What was it?
band,
What'd you consider a deep track, Don?
they have the song Seventh Seal, I think it's off Balance that they played. They played a lot of stuff off 5150, a couple songs I didn't even really know. So
We did Summer Nights.
yeah, Summer Nights, but that's a fairly popular one.
Yeah, Best of Both Worlds, right?
Yeah, they did that. They did the song 5150.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so
Did
it was good.
they do Dreams?
No,
Yeah, he don't do that a lot.
Sammy said that was Sammy's honest about it. He goes, I can't sing it anymore.
How about Love Walks In?
Did they do Love Walk? They did that, and they did Right Now.
Right now is off on Carnal Knowledge. Yeah, that great song.
Yeah.
Great. How was Satriani, man?
Yeah, you get, dude. You know, he's a genius in his own right, but I know from being around Joe a lot, he's such a humble guy. Like you could tell, this whole time he was just like so genuine about playing the solos the right way. You know, to pay tribute to Eddie. You know, and that's one of the things I love about Joe is he's just you know, he's a guitar god in his own right, but
Absolutely.
he's still like bows to the greats that came before him. So yeah, I loved it. He was a great addition in there with Sammy.
That's kind of how I felt when we saw Zach filling in Pantera last year or 2 years ago. Because Zach, Satriani has his own sound completely, and Zach has his own sound too. But the way he was playing all the Pantera songs, trying to keep it as close to the original versions as they were, and still throwing his own little spins on them. But I feel it was kind of the same way.
Yeah,
I thought that was great, and I thought the drummer, the Anthrax drummer who filled in was excellent as well.
He was amazing.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will say, like, if you were gonna do it, those are the two guys.
Sure.
Exactly.
The number one choice in both those open positions. So, people, I'm still a little undecided on. I know a lot of people are, but at least I know like the right people are in there doing it. So, and I'm glad people, a lot of people, I got to see Pantera a whole bunch of times and a lot of people haven't. And nowadays, man, some bands have one original member, no original members. So to say they have half original members, it's almost a badge of honor now.
I saw them 5 times in 8 days. Like it was in 90, probably 97. It was them, Cold Chamber, and Machine Head. We went from Boston to New York to Jersey to Philly to DC.
Wow.
It was just fucking, the shows were just completely insane. That was, people don't understand, like when you see a lot of these newer bands and like they have a big like TikTok presence or a big online presence and things like that. Back then, there was nobody in the metal era that was holding a candle to Pantera live. Those shows were just an absolute experience every single time.
Yeah, but get back what Don was saying about it. You don't have original members and bands. Last week at PNC, like the big show was Styx and Foreigner, and I think between the two of them, there's one original member.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
One original member, like
There's
even
two,
Tommy
two
Shaw.
and Styx, two and Styx.
No, he's not original.
No, Tommy Shaw and
No, he's not original. He joined later on. He joined on Grand Illusion. The albums before he was not in the band.
Okay.
So it's James Young.
I'm thinking you're right. Yeah, no, technically you're right. I'm just thinking of the classic lineup that everybody knows.
Okay, so let's give it to Tommy Shaw. So you have Tommy Shaw, James Young, and no one in Foreigner.
This is what I deal with, Don. This is kind of like when you're on the show with Eddie Trunk, like, and you think like you know a lot about music, then Eddie pulls something out of his fucking ass that you've never heard in your entire life, and you got to forget 3 minutes later. This is every fucking week. I got to deal with this shit. This guy knows what the goddamn guitar player from Styx had for breakfast in 1984.
Again, that was my era, man. I loved Styx. I mean, I loved them. But speaking of bands, Adam, let's cue this up. Don, this Tuesday, tomorrow night, we're considering seeing this guy. Can we play a little bit of this video for Don and Sean?
Yep, getting it.
Let's
started.
I'm very curious about you guys' opinion on this guy.
I have to get high for this.
You should be.
Here we go.
You don't have to.
Peer pressure, dog.
But
all right, here we go. And you guys know who this is yet?
Oh yeah, Corey Feldman.
How great is this guy?
That tomorrow?
This is tomorrow. He is on Loserville.
I think I might be joining you.
Yeah, this. Do you know this song, Essential Millennium? This is like a day in the life of Corey Feldman. This song will be played tomorrow. This video, I believe, is shot in his house.
You think, Jeff?
He has good hair, though. Look at him.
God, I wish I was second-handing on Sean's vape right now. I can't watch this. You're going for the train wreck, right? I mean, that's really
no. I'm going for the pure music. Yeah, of course. Like there's a video out now. If you go on YouTube, and we were trying to find it before, where he plays with a track. and he admits it because he says it makes the sound better. So this will be playing underneath. But they played the track before he came out, and they show him yelling at the band. But there's always some type of malfunction in a Corey Feldman show. Like even in this video, watch, he's having a hard time putting on the glove.
You know what scares me is the fact that you watch this enough to realize that's the scene where he has the trouble with the glove.
Do you know how many rabbit holes of Corey Feldman I've gone down?
I don't want to know, but now I know never to check your hard drive.
Oh, I've watched him at the live. Oh, look who's at it. Look who it is.
Oh, who's that guy?
Sean Astin from the Goonies. You get it?
Yes. I was mesmerized by Corey Feldman's Michael Jackson outfit, considering the guy molested. I wouldn't be wearing the clothes of the person who molested him.
Exactly. All right, I think we got to tap out of this.
Yeah. What do you think of the music?
Horrendous.
You don't like it?
That's brutal.
That was pretty rough, Jeff.
I was trying to decide between this and Comeback King, which is his opener.
Yeah, that's the opener. Yeah, I've heard that song. I've actually heard before, but you're going for the train wreck. I mean, that's why they're opening for Limp Bizkit, right? That's the deal.
Yeah, he's. I think they have 3 bands before Limp Bizkit, and he's the first one on.
Oof.
And he does maybe about 6 songs.
You know what's great about Limp Bizkit, though? It's one of those bands that no one will ever admit that they ever really liked. You know, they were a fucking hit machine in the late 90s and early 2000s. And, and people always just give them a lot of shit because of the gimmicky kind of aspect to it. But I'll tell you what, 25 years later, there's not much I would still put on from that genre. And I would definitely still put a Limp Bizkit song on once in a while.
And it's crazy because they'll have 15,000 people at the Arts Center tomorrow. Yeah. But not one of them will ever admit that they like them. But they're all buying tickets and they're going. And it ain't for Corey Feldman. Although, again, See, if Corey Feldman was going on direct support to Limp Bizkit, then I would go. But I don't want to go inside at 5:30.
Right.
Watch Corey Feldman, then I got to sit through at least 2 more other bands before Limp Bizkit. Like Loverboy opened for Sammy Hagar, and so we just we were listening out in the parking lot, and that was good. That was good tailgating music. They sounded really good, but we didn't go in. We didn't want to be in that early. So, I mean, you're going to be in there a long time tomorrow if you go.
That's the one I've noticed. The older we get, we really got to like every fucking band on the show. And there's a show coming up in AC. It's Clutch, Rival Sons, Fu Manchu, and Blackstone Cherry.
That's a good show.
So that show opens at 7. I'm going to be there at 7 because I want to see all 4 bands. But at the Blackstone Cherry show the other night, it was 2 other local bands. I mean, not local. I'm sure they're on tour with them, but I'm not standing around and sitting for that extra hour and a half, 2 hours, waiting until the band come on. I managed to time it perfectly. The last song of the second band was on. Non-point was on in 10 minutes. I was a very happy fat boy.
It's a good hack when you go to PNC is if you don't want to go in, but you still want to tailgate a little bit, is go into the Live Nation tent, the VIP tent. It's very easy, to get your name on the list there. And you go and you get drinks and food and everything. And you can even watch some of the bands on the monitors there. So it's not a bad thing to do.
Or you can do what I do is buy a house 15 minutes away, door to door to PNC, and show up 15 minutes before the fucking show starts too.
You could do that too. Yeah. I'm going to sell my house so I can do that every summer.
I think you should.
Let's switch gears here a little bit. Since we've been talking music, Don, you're a big football fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm a Jets fan, but I guess that's still considered football. I'm not sure.
It is considered football. It's considered high quality football. You're a big football fan. You did work on Inside the NFL, right?
I did.
Yeah. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this season, particularly Jets and Giants. Let's start with the Jets.
Well, my joke is, that I hope Aaron Rodgers lasts at least twice as long this year,
And that's a good fucking joke.
Because that's would that be 8 plays? So
yes,
I was surprised he came here, man. Because I like him, I mean, you can't take, whether you like him or not, you can't take away how great he has been, but I don't know what he can do for the Jets. Is this going to be another Brett Favre where we're getting the guy at the end of his career? He's just getting that one last payday and they're going to go 500, or can he elevate this team? I mean, they improved the offensive line. Their defense was already really good. So there is a chance, but he's got to stay upright, and whatever he's got to do, if he's got to go hide in a cave for a month, or freeze himself in a block of ice like David Blaine, whatever it takes to get through the season, let's get it done, and we might have a chance even at the playoffs.
Am I winning my bet with Florentine?
You guys are so adorable, Jet fan.
I know.
But you're the same shit every.
It's not this. No, it's not this.
If everybody stays healthy, we got a chance.
It's not the same, because this is the year. So Don, I have a bet with Florentine. Okay, I say the Jets are going 12-5, but as long as they win 10 or more, I win. I think that's a lock.
Didn't he go off on you on stage for saying that?
He did say that. He did a 15-minute rant on how delusional I am about the Jets going.
Paul's delusion.
Yeah, but I'm 100% right this year. There is this. Listen, if you go through the rosters of the NFL and you look at the Jets' schedule, which I've done, okay, they could, if everything breaks right, they can easily go 8-2, but I don't think they go any worse than 7-3 in their first 10 games.
I'm not going to be that bold. I'm not. Listen, Sean.
This is it,
I can
Don.
be delusional, but that's highly delusional.
It's not highly delusional.
161 episodes, right? 161 episodes we're at, Jeffrey. This is their 4th preseason of NFL. 4 fucking years in a row, I'm hearing this bullshit. And you know what I'm going to hear at the end of the season? Well, we had a lot of injuries. And
no, not this year.
We lost by points. Shut up.
No, we got it covered. We got backups. We got backups. Like last year, Rodgers goes down, it's over. Rodgers doesn't have to play all 17 games. He could sit out 4 of them, and the Jets will still be all right.
I'm sure they'll do that at $175 million a year. I'm sure
if they want to go far in the playoffs. Listen, if everything breaks right, they can go to the Super Bowl. Why not? They should have been the Chiefs.
My aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. What the fuck difference does it make?
What do we think about the Giants? Did anyone watch the Hard Knocks?
No, I haven't. I haven't watched it yet.
No, my buddy Eddie Trunk is a die hard Giants fan, and I think he's on the fence for this year. I don't know. I think this is kind of a make or break year for them, right? I mean, either they take a step up, or I'd say tear it all down, man. They just hasn't been that good.
I think they got
I don't have any I don't go into it every year with the rah bullshit. I don't at all. With basketball is the only sport that I'll do that with. I can't do it with and baseball, obviously, because I'm a Yankee fan and we know how to win, unlike the Mets. But we
were winning 5-1 when I came down.
Yeah, 6-1 now.
It's okay.
Nice.
It's okay. You guys deal with that. Yeah, football is I'm not one of those people who ever go that far deep into Jeff always you got to join the fantasy football league that we do with the comics, and I'm like, no, I like pussy.
Yeah, Don, you want to join the fantasy football league this year?
I'd rather Zach Wilson blow me than join the fantasy.
We could arrange that too, but come on, it's really cool.
It's not really. What's really cool about it? It's Dungeons and Dragons for sports.
We have drinks.
You have drinks. I have drinks too. I don't.
Okay, there's drinks. There's food.
Okay, we can go to a bar. Continue.
Okay. Oh, also we have hookers.
We can reach that too, real quick.
Yeah. So there's pussy. There's a little something for everybody. We do it at Black Betty's.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so now all of a sudden,
not at all at a depressing place.
No, it's good for you. It's good for your self-esteem. I walk out of there, I feel better about myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I start rethinking my life choices. All right. I'm trying to think of it. If it's too early to talk about this in the show, now fuck it. Adam. Let's show this to Don, because And before we do, Don, you're a big movie fan, right?
You know what? I'm not really. I'm not a huge movie fan.
But you like movies.
No, I do, but I'm like, I still have a DVD player. I still basically watch the same 12 movies that I own, you know?
Well, I'm sure this is one of the movies that you enjoy. Can
Oh.
we show the opening scene of this movie? Because I think this is one of our favorites.
It's the
Yeah,
fucking
let me just pull this up.
Yeah, pull it up. Let's show. Like this is a really good scene too. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, it has all the elements that we like.
Stalling, Jeff, by the way.
What's that?
So you really suck at stalling.
Well,
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
he knows we're gonna show this, and it takes him 5 fucking hours to pull it up. Let's go.
There we go.
Do you know who that is?
Sister Christian, know the time has come.
Oh.
And you
No.
know that you're the only one.
I know what the movie is.
is.
Oh, this is a great movie.
What is it?
Don, you want to tell him?
Where you going, what you're looking
Ugh.
for.
You homos tell me it's fucking Glee.
Rock of Ages.
Come on, this is good stuff.
Jeffrey, please don't ever tell Jim Florentine you like this movie. He'll never speak to you again.
I'm see now everybody on the bus is going to sing.
Oh God.
Yeah, they're on the bus, so they're motoring. You don't like this?
All right, Jeffrey's trolling now. I know what's going on.
Yeah. You think?
Is this how cringe is this?
This is gayer than Zach Wilson.
Okay, I think there's Adam. Pull up the next clip.
I like to introduce my new podcast called That Damn Band Show with my host, my co-host Don Jamieson.
I think the only thing worse it's not worse.
That was horrible.
The movie was the worst thing I've ever seen. I saw this live on Broadway.
It was great.
It was not great.
I saw it with Constantine.
No.
I liked it. I thought
You thought this was great
I thought it was really good. Yeah. I mean,
on Broadway?
yeah, I saw it on Broadway.
Oh, come on. It was fucking retarded.
Jeff, you can't say that word anymore.
The only thing had like this was like the Rocky musical, which I also saw. Okay. And the Rocky musical had a song called At Least They Didn't Break My Nose. That was a real musical number. Now I think this is the worst scene ever filmed in music history. No, it's coming up right here. This is beyond brutal. Now I think this was actually filmed on the Sunset Strip. You see Debbie Gibson's in the background. You see her there, and Sebastian Bach is there.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Cronin from there he is. Kevin Cronin. Did you see him?
REO Speedway.
REO, yeah. Yeah, they mean that shit. But you think the Holy Rollers are going to take it? How embarrassing is this?
Of being a co-host in this podcast? Absolutely.
I know that. Look at Will Forte. He has to run back and forth with the microphone. Oh,
All right.
man.
Can I just go on record and say I don't hate that song?
You didn't hate that clip.
No, the clip is fucking atrocious. I'm saying the actual song itself. I don't hate that song, and it gets a tremendous amount of hate. I think it's a catchy pop song.
We're not going to take it, or the other one?
No, We Built This City by Jefferson Starship.
I don't think it's bad.
Oh, a lot of people think it's one of the worst songs that's ever recorded.
It's like saying people hate Nickelback, and Nickelback doesn't deserve the hate it gets.
And let me tell you, great documentary, by the way. It's on Netflix. I don't know if you guys.
Don, not a fan of Nickelback?
No, I was still cringing at that scene. Yeah, I went and saw it on Broadway too, and it was funny. The blonde guy that was in one of the shots. His name's Joel Hoekstra, and
Oh yeah.
Joe plays, you know, he plays in
Whitesnake.
Whitesnake, and at that time he was actually playing the Night Ranger. Joe was in the Broadway show, and I was friends with Joe. I still am, and but he was out the day that I went, and they sent me and Jim and Eddie from that metal show all down there to see it because they want, you know, VH1 wanted to do this big thing with it, and at the intermission, I left. It was so bad. I couldn't sit through the whole thing.
You
There's
really left her in intermission.
Yeah, there's one point where this girl is pretending she's handing out the flyers like on Sunset Boulevard for all the bands. You know, they put the posters, they used to put the
Yep.
posters up, and she throws them all up in the air. And all these Midwest housewives and stuff are like reaching up, trying to grab them. And there was one left, and it was just right down in front of me. And I wouldn't even acknowledge that it fell in front of me. And all these women were just glaring at me because they wanted that thing so badly. And then I just stepped on it and ripped it.
It's like I refuse to ever get up and do the wave at a fucking
Yes.
stadium, or I flat out refuse. I plant myself. I refuse to move my arms.
Or stand up and try and get a free t-shirt.
Yeah, I'll do that shit. I'll buy my
Yeah.
own.
Yeah, I'll buy a t-shirt. It's okay.
Yeah, your t-shirts are only $2, so you don't have to worry about it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But Joel was out on tour with Night Ranger, and his friend was filling in on guitar on that show. By the time I got to the corner of like 46 and Broadway, which is maybe 5 minutes, my phone rings. It's Joel. He goes, "I heard you just walked out of the theater." I go, "How did you know? You're in like
That's
Des
great.
Moines." He's like, "My fill-in said he saw you wouldn't leave at the intermission." I go, "Dude, that was so bad." He goes, "I'm sorry, man." He goes, "When I'm there, it's a lot more rock." And I go, "Nah, don't worry. It's not you. I just, you know, musicals just, I don't know. They're just musicals of any kind are corny to me." So needless to say, we never did anything on that metal show with it. And they even offered us to play like roles, like, you know, like standing at the bar in the background, and we are all like,
You
"Ugh,
should have done it.
no."
Oh, no, you
I
should
have to sit through the show every night.
No, you should have been in. You should have been in the Broadway play in the movie. Can you? That'd be great. Like you could be like pumping your fist and you're really angry because you're not going to take it.
Yeah, well, we
No,
built
you're
this.
about rock.
Did you take like an extra fucking moron pill tonight? What the
Well, if you had the be honest, Sean, if you had the chance to be in Rock of Ages, you wouldn't do it.
Oh fuck yeah, I would.
Yeah.
We all,
Okay. So what's wrong with that? I think Don made a big mistake.
I wouldn't say that.
He could have been in Rock of Ages.
It's
He could
integrity.
have been standing alongside Debbie Gibson screaming, "We were not going to take it." Or maybe he could have been the guy who comes downstairs because there's a scene which we didn't show, but there's a scene where Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin are singing "I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore" while they're singing it into a brush. They're singing into a brush.
yes.
And they're looking at each other's eyes. And do you remember the classic line? Like you could be the guy who comes downstairs and says, "Hey, there's a delivery." And then Alec Baldwin says, "I'm busy." And then you would go, "With what?" And then Alec Baldwin goes, "Falling in love."
How many times have you seen this fucking movie?
I've seen this movie anytime it has ever come on cable.
Apparently, yeah.
It is a remote drop for me.
Do you make a nice little cup of chamomile and change your
No,
tampon before
it's
you do
just-
it too?
A bubble
It's-
bath.
It's
Oh God.
it's so bad.
That's the worst visual I've ever had in my life is Jeffrey sitting in a fucking bubble bath on an iPad watching Rock of Ages.
Well, yeah, drinking some tea, cleaning my toes. No.
Alec Baldwin should have shot himself after that.
That could be. I mean, I think every scene in that movie is the worst scene I've ever seen. And I had on a different podcast, I got into such a big thing with Dustin Chafin over this because he's like, it's a pretty good movie. It's good, it's rock and there's all. I'm like, it's still garbage. It's brutal. It's terrible. But speak of some things that aren't, or at least I would like to know more about it. I know one of the cool things you do, Don, is you do a lot of these rock cruises.
Yeah.
How are those? Is it difficult to do stand up on them? Do the people want to hear your stand up? And I know they like you, but are you going there just kind of like MC the events?
Yo, but we do comedy shows on the cruise, and it's good. People like it because you get a break from the music, because you got bands literally playing from 10 in the morning till 1:30, 2 a.m. in the morning. So, there's other stuff where you could just take a break where you don't need to hear the music, maybe Q&As with the bands, which we host, and they do contests. So you think you could shred contest where cruisers bring their guitars on and they go up and they all compete, and there's a celebrity panel of judges, and I'm usually on that. And then the stand-up shows people like, because now what we're doing too is we're getting on every cruise a rock star to do stand-up for the first time. So people really go crazy for that. So
Who have you seen do it? I know the singer in Queensryche has gone up, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, Todd did great. The last cruise was, it was Todd Latore and Reb Beach from Winger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And both guys did great. Both totally different guys. Todd much more cerebral. Reb just filthy. But both super funny. And I got Kip Winger to do it the year before that, which was really great, because the first thing when I emailed him about it, he just wrote back 2 words: ask Reb. Because he knew Reb could do it. He knew Reb does impressions, Reb does voices, Reb's got a million like dirty stories he loves to tell. And I said, no, that's the whole thing. I know Reb could do it and wants to do it. I want you. You're like the hot bartender at a strip club that nobody can get. I want Kip first. Then I'll go on to somebody else. Like if I can get Kip, I can get anybody. And I finally got him to do it. And I remember we sent him the first draft of what we wrote up, and he just writes back like a half hour later, "This sucks."
See, I think it would be good if he did like some self-deprecating humor
He
about himself.
totally did.
Yeah,
So
that would be awesome.
when I got him back on the on FaceTime and we went through it, then he goes, okay, I wasn't reading it that way. He goes, I still want to retweak some stuff. And then when he did it, he sent me a really nice email saying, thanks, man. I'm glad you hung in there with me. I was on the fence, but he goes, that was an amazing experience. So, it was cool. You like Kip Winger or not, he's an interesting guy, and he was not afraid to be self-deprecating.
You talk about a guy, we talked about Nickelback before and Limp Bizkit. You talk about a band and a guy who didn't deserve the unwarranted blowback, pushback. Kip Winger is definitely that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was nominated for a Grammy for best orchestral composition. Like, he's writing operas and stuff now. He's a really talented guy, but his band was known for one. They had a bunch of hits, but the song everybody knows is "She's Only 17."
Yeah.
Which the first time he came to see me when we were on the cruise. He walked in the room and I had to say something because everybody kind of turned around and was looking, and I go, yeah, there he is. Yeah. Kip Winger, famous for the song "She's Only 17." When you have a #1 song about being a pedophile, that's a crazy band right there. And the place went nuts, and then he turned around, he laughed, and then he was walking out, and I go, bye, Kip. We'll see you later. Kip Winger's the original R. Kelly. Everybody, give him a hand. and I still do that bit once in a while in my act too, if we have a good rock crowd. But yeah, no, he's cool like that, man. He's not stuck on himself. But yeah, and that band's better than if you ever go see that band, they are really great.
I saw him last year. They opened for
right.
for Kiefer. But you've done that metal show. You did that Jamieson show, which I was like fortunate enough to go on a couple times.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite rock stars that you got to interview, and who were some that said no or you just couldn't get that you would have liked to?
Well, when we did that metal show, we never got Eddie Van Halen. We never got Ozzy. We never got anybody in Van Halen. I mean, not well, I shouldn't say that. We did get Michael Anthony. We did get Sammy, but we didn't get, neither the Van Halen brothers. Although it was funny because, when we used to have the guest guitar players, Eddie sent his EVH equipment amplifiers and all that stuff over to us to use. And we were hoping like eventually first he sends the equipment, then maybe a pair of shoes and a pair of pants, and then maybe eventually, you know, Eddie himself shows up, but he never did. Ozzy never did. So yeah, those guys, you know, pretty much. But you know, the guys that get the most eyeballs are the guys who are completely unfiltered. So, you know, like when I did that, I just posted that Jamieson episode on my YouTube channel with an interview I did with Ted Nugent about a year and a half ago.
Uncle Ted.
That by far blows every interview clip out of the water. I mean, it was like at 10,000 instantly after I
Why is that? Why him?
Because whether you like Ted or you hate him, you got to watch because you want to see what the hell he's going to say. And guys like him or Phil Anselmo, Marilyn Manson, Dave Mustaine, these are guys who will say anything that comes to their mind. They're totally unfiltered. And those are the people that make the best guests because people have to tune in whether they like them or they don't.
I think part of like the secret of you is that you have, I don't think this could be taught. You have a unique way of making your guests feel very, very comfortable. And like, you know, when I watched you interview, like I'm sitting there and you're just, you know, you're very authentic. And I think that comes across and I think these guys know it and they trust you.
Yeah, well, I don't, you know, we don't want to shit on anybody necessarily, but you also, you know, we always said like when we did that metal show, we got to still be able to talk freely if we don't like something, but it doesn't mean you have to crap on someone to make a point. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really have anybody on that I wasn't sort of a fan of or trying to learn a little bit more about. You know, I had a bunch of young up and coming bands on the show, and you know, it was like, yeah, I want to learn about these guys too. So. I always have fun, you know, I try to do something a little bit different, but I had 12 Rock and Roll Hall of Famers on my silly little podcast. So I'm really proud of that. And now I'm doing a new thing with Keith Roth called Rock Strap, which is us interviewing rock people about sports and interviewing athletes about rock.
Now, yeah, who'd you have on the last one? I think you had the there wasn't Ace Frehley, was it?
No, we did David Bryan from Bon Jovi.
That's it. David Bryan.
The first episode, yeah. But we have about eight of them taped now. So, you know, we're going to be rolling them out every week. And the David Bryan one is on there. Just look up Rock Strap, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you get your, you know, your podcasts. And just, you know, I've interviewed so many people, man. So I wanted to do something different where it's not just, you know, also tell us about the new album. Is this your best album yet? Are you gonna tour on it? Like it's, you know, it gets kind of monotonous after a while. So to have, you know, David Bryan come on and just talk about the Giants for a while, you know, he's a big New York Giants fan. That was cool, you know, and I like that spin on it. And the same with athletes. These guys, you know, we're all sports fans here. We hear those dumb interviews. Oh yeah, we're coming back tomorrow. It's a team game, and you know, it's a long season. Blah 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 blah. Fucking blah. You know, no, they want to come on and, you know, they want to talk about rock and going to concerts and all that stuff, man. We had Jeremy Roenick on. That's an episode coming up, you know, legendary hockey player.
Sure, Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, he's just a massive, massive music fan. He's friends with a million different rock people. So you really get a lot more out of them, especially athletes, when they don't have to talk in sports cliches.
I was always really impressed with Piazza, like his love for metal.
So deep, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I've been to a few concerts with Mike. I mean, he's, you know, when he gets in that mode, he forgets who he is.
Yeah, but it made you like him more as a player because you knew he was like a guy like you could relate to, right?
Yeah, when I used to go out to, when I was working at MTV back in the early days, I used to go to LA a lot to work on, you know, different special events for MTV. And I would always go catch Dodger games because I love Piazza. And I was like, this guy comes up to metal all the time, you know, and obviously he was already a star by then, hitting tons of home runs. And when he came to the Mets, man, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, we never get that guy. And not only is he a great absolute, Hall of Fame player. He's a metalhead. And then, to actually meet him and become friends with him too, was amazing, because him and Eddie were good friends because he used to listen to Eddie's radio show.
Right. He would even come into the studio and guest. Now, I was a big fan of that metal show. I loved it. I mean, it was the only show that really like spoke to like guys like me and wanted to like hear more. Because I mean, you would never see these on the late night shows. But the one episode that really stands out to me, and it was very eerie, was the Janie Lane interview, because you guys had him on, and then I think it was 2 weeks later he passed away. Did you notice anything about that? Is there anything you could tell us about that episode that maybe like did you see this coming?
No, he was actually, so he was sober, I think, like he said, 6 weeks at that point. And he was in great spirits, man. And I talked to him for a while after the taping, and I really liked him, man. I didn't really know him before. I'd met him a few times, but I really liked him. I'm like, wow, I really hope this guy can hold it together. He just seemed like a real bright guy, but he was obviously tortured, And I'll tell you, man, what people ask me about episodes I was proud of, that one definitely I was, because I hosted a benefit that his brother put together. He's from Akron, Ohio. Like him and Marilyn Manson were both from the same area. And his brother Eric, asked me to come out and host a tribute to him, which I did. And the first thing he said to me is like, "Thank you so much for, taking my brother for a walk down memory lane one last time, because I know how much fun he had doing it with you guys, and you treated him with so much respect." And I was like, yeah, cool. That means a lot.
Yeah, we had
Me and my best friend always had this thing about Janie Lane. I think he was probably one of the most underrated songwriters
oh yeah.
of that rock era of like the late 80s and early 90s. I mean, some of the things that he wrote, man, just you could still listen to on the radio any day of the week.
Yeah, well, he got, and his angst, a lot of it came from, they had a similar thing like Winger. Winger got pigeonholed as She's Only 17 band, and Warren got pigeonholed as the Cherry Pie band. And, he hated that, because you're right, Sean, he could write some really deep lyrical stuff. And that song, was a kind of obviously it was a huge hit, but those lyrics were ridiculous. I mean, we all know that, but so I think I think it bummed him out that at least, look, that song made him a great living, but he would have loved Uncle Tom's Cabin or
I think that is
Dog to be the biggest singles of his career.
Uncle Tom's Cabin is like, I think, is their best work, man. That is that Mount Rushmore song. Say again?
Did I ever tell you my story about Uncle Tom's Cabin? I was a sophomore in high school, and we had to do an original oratory thing. And of course, I was not that I wasn't the greatest student. I had other activities that I enjoyed a lot more in high school. And and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to write about. And I'm like, this guy has no idea. Warrant. So I basically wrote the lyrics out. So just for the record, let's get this story straight. See, me and my Uncle Tom were fishing, and it was getting pretty. I wrote the whole thing out. So then, like, we hand the thing in, and like a week later, it starts going around, and he's like, "Yeah, this is a great assignment, but I gotta tell you, one student's really stood out. His best writing of the year by far. I want to read Mr. Morton's assignment. It was called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And I'm like, oh fuck, he's gonna call me out. And as soon as he says it, my best friend's next to me going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he read the whole lyrics just completely out like that.
That's hysterical. Did you ever tell Don how you would upgrade your seats at Madison Square Garden?
No. Okay, so here's what happened. So my buddy used to work at WDHJ. He was the metal DJ over there, and he would get us tickets for everything all the time. So got us a whole crew of us the Metallica tickets when they had Volbeat open for them a couple of years ago. So I was partaking a little bit in the parking lot. I had me, Joe Fernandez?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so it was me and Joe Fernandez, my friend's sister-in-law and his best friend. We get stuck 2 rows from the top. I'm like, it's okay. They're free seats, whatever. We're cool. Joe's stone cold sober. I am fucked up beyond belief at this point. So the girl's like, we got to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, well, you know what? Let's do the gentlemanly thing and let's escort them down there. And so like, I'm barely getting down those steep stairs at MetLife. I'm fucked, right? And as soon as we go down our exit, we see guest services. And I go, guys, come here. And I walk up to them and I go, do you guys have any other seats? And the girl goes, why, what's the matter? I said, look, I don't want to say this out loud, too loud, but I'm kind of a pretty famous comedian. And it's my friend's birthday. Pulls out her license and goes, here. And she goes, you give me tickets for a show? I go, anytime you want. You get VIP, honey. Hands us 4 tickets. She goes, you enjoy. I look down, 14th fucking row on the side of the stage.
Right. And you gave her tickets to the Comedy Cove.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But we wound up they opened up a whole side section and we went 14 rows down and the section was completely open. So then I took all 4 tickets. I'd run up, I'd bring 3 more friends down. I'd grab the 4 tickets, run up, bring 3 more friends down. We had the whole section to ourselves right alongside the stage. And Jeff hates that story.
It's so cringe.
Because he knows I would never do that for him.
We wouldn't have to because we would have good seats going in. No, so that leads me to this.
It's more fun to get over,
I used to do that when I was a kid. We would get like the 400 sections in Madison Square Garden, then jump down off from that section, and then try and go all the way down as far as possible. And we used to get really far.
And Joe Fernando said, if I heard that story, I would make fun of you so bad because I was there and I got to receive the 14th row ticket because of that. It was the greatest fucking thing I ever saw.
But so this leads me to this. Another thing, like my son loves it. He turned his friends in college onto this, the Terrorizing Telemarketers. Okay. So if you get like a bump from Connecticut, you can thank my son Ryan to that. Okay. Everyone at the University of Connecticut who hangs out at University of Hartford who hangs out with him, they're all into this now.
That's
okay.
Great.
Terrorizing Telemarketers. How did you guys make those? I mean, did you just sit around all day waiting for telemarketers to call? What was the process of that? And how many did you have to go through to get like some real good ones?
Well, we're still doing it. And yeah, like nothing's really changed. It's just like, Jim and I are almost like a band going into the studio. Like we put one out like a year and a half ago. We have 7 volumes of them. So if people like prank calls, and of course our thing is they're all incoming. They're all telemarketers bothering us. So, we always feel, and they're scum, of course. So we always feel like, we have every right to, just mercifully, annoy these people. But yeah, like we hadn't made one for about 3 years before that. And when we plugged in the landline in Jim and Florentine's basement, like literally a minute later, the phone started ringing. Like, it was like they had been calling, for years, but, he didn't have the phone plugged in. And then the minute he plugged it in, the calls started coming in. We started recording them. We just do them on like a little Radio Shack, like mini cassette recorder, and then we just digitize them in the computer and edit them. But yeah, it depends, man. You get, sometimes you do like 7 calls in a day and you don't get any. The other times, you do 7 calls and you get 3 great ones. It just depends. It's all on the reaction, right? It's like, because they have to, it's all theater of the mind, because they have to believe whatever premise Florentine and I are going with.
Now, is that already determined that what you're going to do? Or do you guys just kind of like play off of each other?
It depends. It depends on, because again, we don't know how they're going to react. So sometimes we'll come up with a loose concept, but they might not be responding. So then we'll change direction. But we know each other comedically so well. I'll go, okay, he's changing it up here because it's not working the other way. And then we'll just start riffing on it. And just silly stuff, man. It's amazing. And the last one we put out went to #1 on the iTunes charts in comedy. So, to be a guy in his mid-50s with a #1 comedy album of prank calls, God bless America.
You're like the Lou Abbott of this, because you are such a fucking buster. There's 2 that I think about. It's so funny. He's on the phone and you pop in there, you done yet? Are you
Oh,
done yet?
you still on the phone, dude?
And the thing is, just it's very convincing. So I can see where someone and you keep doing it, and the guy is getting more and more agitated. That's a funny one. And
And Jim's
another
just
one.
acting like there's nothing wrong with me busting in literally every 5 seconds. Like, no, I'm still on. Like he doesn't get aggravated at all. It's up to the telemarketer to get
Right.
aggravated, and he finally does, which is great.
And then the two of you guys contradict each other. He wants it, you don't, or something. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah, yes, no, I don't know. Which
yeah.
we found out from my buddy Dizzy Reed, who plays keyboards in Guns N' Roses. He said Axl Rose, that's his favorite one. Like he's played the calls for Axl, and he goes, his favorite one's yes, no, I don't know. Where the telemarketer asks a question, Jim always says yes, I always say no, and then our friend Chuck, who did it with us, said I don't know. And we drive the first telemarketer nuts, and then they put the supervisor on. And I always love that because the supervisor was like, I'll handle this now. And then we drive him off the phone too. So
You got to hear these, Sean. These are so freaking funny. But like you are like it's like you don't have any mercy.
well, like what do you I mean, that tension's funny, I mean,
It's
it's not
so
it's
funny.
not funny unless there's tension. My favorite one from the new album is the COVID mask one, where the telemarketer needs information. He goes, well, my roommate has the information you need. And I come on and I'm like, yeah, it's so that's 3. And he's like, wait, what'd you say? And Jim's, I heard a 3 in there. He goes, I need more than a 3. I need all the other information.
That's a great.
He's got COVID. He doesn't want to. I'm not vaccinated, so I don't want him, to take his mask off. And we just drive the guy crazy. And just as he's about to get the information, the mask muffles it again. And yeah, that guy. I can't imagine he lasted the full day.
It's I think another one that classic. You're not on this one, but it's a long one. The record.
The what?
The record.
The record. Right. That's what Jim. That's the whole
right.
thing.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah. What's the paper? The record.
The record.
The what? The record. Okay. Do you want it? Do I want what? The paper. What is it? The record.
And
the what?
This goes on for like 9 minutes. and then the supervisor comes on, and then he plays it completely straight. Like, okay, put the other guy back.
Right. Whenever somebody else comes back on, then it's always like, no, everything was going fine. I don't know why the guy put you on. Put him back on. We were just about to close the deal.
It's so good. These are so good.
Well, thank
you. Yeah, man. So before we let you go, you have I think, is it now 5 CDs out?
5 stand-up CDs. Yeah,
5
live.
stand-up CDs. You've done them in different locations. I know you did one. You did at a speakeasy. It was a small one. The last time we had you on, which was, oh my God, 4 years ago in the studio, you were doing the one that looked like the Saxon album.
That's the one I did in the speakeasy in Los Angeles, literally an illegal club that was set up like an old speakeasy, like from the 30s, with the bar and stage, full sound system and everything, and they put on shows in there. And I said, God, that's the place I want to do it, because what a great ending it would be if the cops like raided the place and pulled me out of there.
And then, I mean, I just think things come to you because you're hanging out and you said, it would be a great place. We're gonna go drink McSorley's. And the new one's live from McSorley's.
That's great.
Go Sleep Till McSorley's. I play on the Motorhead classic live album, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. And yeah, within an hour of day drinking, I had McSorley's agreed to let me do my special there. They've never done anything like that there before. I got Motorhead to give me permission to use the font and the actual artwork from No Sleep Till Hammersmith. I got Metal Blade to agree to put it out, and I got Phil Campbell to agree to play the guitar intro on here, former Motorhead guitar player. So in an hour a day drinking, like I got all that done, and it was just meant to be. So, don't ever say, can't get anything done day drinking. I got a lot done that day.
And really, really funny stuff. And the best thing about, I mean, there's so many good things about about Jameson, but one of the cool things that he does is he'll work this stuff out in like these small little places. And like, you really get to see like the process, like, as he's doing it, and then how it all kind of comes together and how great it sounds on these CDs.
Oh, dude. Well, thanks for all the good words, man. You know how I am, man. I just, especially getting older, dude, I don't want to, you got to talk about the crazy shit in the world. We all do, right? But I don't want to be the old guy, the get off my lawn guy, right? I want it to be funny. Like I had these 23-year-olds at the comic strip on Friday night, a whole like 15 of them at a table. I go, they're gonna hate my guts. They laughed more than anybody in the room. And in my mind, I'm going, I'm making fun of you people specifically for the last 10 minutes, and the one guy came up to me after, he goes, that was amazing. And he goes, I know you're making fun of our generation. We're awful. I get it, He goes, but me and my friends are cool. We love shit like this. So, I want people to laugh at this stuff, but I don't want to preach to them, man. I've seen too many comics, especially now that everything's fucking political. They're scolding their audiences. It's like, no, come on. You got a guy fucking who's been hanging sheetrock for 40 hours that week. He just wants to, drink whiskey and fucking, listen to music at his house. His wife made him go out to the comedy club. That guy wants to laugh, man. He doesn't want to be lectured on who he should vote for in the next election. So that's just what I try to do, man. And just try to make it funny for everybody. And if people don't like it, fuck it. Most of the people who are triggered now, they stay home anyway, and fight with people online.
It's true. Anyway, Don, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate your time and doing this. Folks, the CD is called Don Jamieson Live from McSorley's. You can buy it anywhere CDs are sold. Can you download it?
Oh yeah, it's on iTunes, and then you can get it on vinyl at experiencevinyl.com. So yeah, I go old school, man. I can't wait to get the vinyl. And McSorley's, the only thing McSorley serves is their ale. McSorley's ale, light and dark. That's all you can order there. So the two variants of vinyl are McSorley's light ale color and McSorley's dark ale color. So if you're a vinyl junkie like me, you got to get both of them. You got to get both variants.
At your shows, you're going to be selling that type of merch?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to do. Listen, go see Don live. He's great. Get the CDs. Support Don Jamieson. Support us.
Yes.
Okay? Support us. We got the Sean Morton comedy taping coming up in a month.
Less than a month. August 24th.
Less than a month out.
Saturday, August 24th at the Dojo in Morris Plains. Jeffrey is opening up the show for me.
Right.
We officially have 15 tickets left until we're sold out. So
it'll be sold out.
By the time this airs, it's going to be sold out. But I am also going to release this on vinyl too, Don, because like yourself, I am a fucking record junkie. I got 1,000 vinyl in my living room, and I'm going to spend a tremendous amount of money out of my pocket just to have one copy of my own vinyl.
Exactly right.
That's it.
Lemmy says on one of their later live albums, he's like, this next song was a big hit for us. I have 10,000 copies in my house. And that's our attitude, right? It's like, as long as we can hold it up and go, look, I made an album. I don't care if I sell one copy of it. I'll spend the money and I'll have the stack in my house. But yeah, to me, there's nothing cooler. We'll have to do a whole vinyl show sometime.
Yeah, you know what? Before we go, when I was just about ready to graduate college, okay, I used to listen to records all the time, okay, and when I was listening with headphones on, and I would look at the liner notes and read everything, and I started writing down the addresses of like where they came from. I wrote I sent a resume and a cover letter to CBS Records on a Wednesday. The following Tuesday, I got a call on my answering machine. I saved it. Woman Martina Washington from Human Resources. 3 weeks later, started working for CBS Records.
Wow.
I mean, there was so many great things about vinyl. I mean, I love being able to get something within 3 seconds of wanting to hear it. But there was no better feeling than, I think it was either Tuesdays or Fridays where they would have the new releases. And you
Right.
would go, and you would go like to your record store and you would get it. So like when Priest came out with like Turbo Lover, you know, it was the album Turbo,
Yeah.
or anything that would come out. I mean, you remember how excited you were to like get it and open up the album, the record?
Yeah, because they didn't start playing, now they start playing, putting out singles like 6 months ahead of the album. And so you've already heard like 5 songs off it by the time it came out. Like we didn't know when the records were coming out. And then by the time we heard, it'd still be 4 months out and you'd be waiting and you save up your lawn mowing money, because you knew in September, Judas Priest Screaming for Vengeance was coming out and you waited the whole summer. I can't wait for this album. And you'd be so invested in it. And you're right. Once we got it, we consumed everything in it. The thank yous, which band members thanked who, and which other bands did they thank, and all that stuff was, now you would have had to,
You committed it to
slide
memory,
into
like
that
baseball
woman's
cards.
DMs on Instagram.
Yeah.
Nobody mails letters anymore, but
I want to
That's
ask
just-
one last question. What do you think of the band Category 7?
I've had the album for a while because obviously they're on Metal Blade as well, and so am I, and I know the guys. It sounds amazing.
Right?
I
Jeff,
think it's
John Bush, the old singer from Armored Saint and Anthrax, with Phil Demmel, was the old guitar player from Machine Head.
Yep.
It is a brutal fucking record.
Yep.
Absolutely
Jason Bittner on drums from Shadows
Yeah.
Fall was in
We had-
Overkill.
We had him on the show here.
Former guest.
Right.
Yeah.
And your Staten Island buddy, Mike Orlando on guitar, on the other guitar, who's amazing. So yeah, that's exciting. There's a lot of good music that's been coming out and still to come out. So yeah, this, people, listen, I'm at an advantage. I get sent a lot of music, which is great. And I listen to all of it, man, because I like all kinds of stuff. But if I like it, I buy it on vinyl. That's what I do. It's like you could email it to me and I'll listen to it. And if I like it, I'm instantly going out and buying it on vinyl. Again, great way to support the band, especially if you get it off their website. The money's going directly to them.
Absolutely.
Do that every week. I'll go down on some band's website, whether I get a t-shirt or just some type of merch just to help support these bands. Don, once again, man, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Jeff, thanks for everything. And Sean, good luck with your taping, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right, take care, everybody. We'll catch you next time on Who's Your Band?